So these Elson's dialogue updates specifically after that guy falls down. You take the elevator, and I have a feeling that some people probably don't know this because they just like continue on with the apartments until after it's done, and by that point, like their dialogue also changes again after the district is finished, which means that this dialogue after the guy falls will become inaccessible. That scare where they go back into place after leaving, that was added in 1.1.3. This does not exist in 1.1.2, and I had to add that. What? Did I misremember it? Or was it 75336? Was it 75? Now I don't even remember what number I did. Okay. If not, I just have my notes, so... There we go. Oh, this one. Okay. So, this scare can be prevented from happening correctly. Well, not like correctly, but as intended. Because you're supposed to just like see the chest immediately and just immediately walk up and interact with it. But there's no tile here to trigger the Spectre battle. So you could just open it from the side and then just leave and then let go. Where am I supposed to go? But the thing is that going over here is so like out of the way and not like directly like front of your face, like ooh, piece of candy, that like chances are you're not going to do that unless you literally know what's going to happen. But yeah, you had to step on this tile in order for that to happen. In order to get the key, or else you literally just cannot progress. I have contemplated adding an event, a switch over onto that side as well. Like, oh, you thought you could avoid battle triggering if you approached from that side. Nope, no, you can't. These are the only birds. Okay, these are the only birds in the residential district that have no clip dialogue. I am curious as to why you can't approach the edges of the apartments here. The face rec does not update to reflect having the tie. I'm also gonna have to fix that. Also, this guy's dialogue does not update when you give the tie. I contemplated adding dialogue for this, but I couldn't figure out what to make him say, so I just didn't do anything. If I remember correctly, the first memory is supposed to be on top of the apartments, and then that one is the second one. I don't know why the order is like this for the residential district, because you have to just, you're going all over the place. So, Adam here, peeking in through that door. After his death, regardless of route, if you come back to the Birdtown Apartments, he will still be here, because I guess the devs did not foresee a player just coming back here after that point, and then like seeing this, so they didn't think to like have a different panorama for this map, because this map, like with the texture and whatnot, is a panorama, and Adam's face is a part of that panorama instead of like an event or like a part of the chipset itself, but made transparent. So that there's no way to have his face disappear after his death. It's just going to just be here. there was a missing page turn sound a couple pages back. So, Malachi's diary. This did not exist back in FindMe 3.2 or any prior versions. It was added as recently as the test build. But, based on what I've seen in FindMe version 2.1, back then Malachi had pages littered throughout the various floors of the apartments, apartment A and B, that you would find and read about to learn who he was. And a lot of the contents of those pages are similar to what's in his diary, except like back then, he wasn't like he didn't succumb to his madness and like his guilt and get taken advantage of by Daedalus because of his mental weakness. Back then, he was just like convinced by the birds and specters that it's better to protect those that are actually strong and worth protecting, and that those who are strong are worth protecting, and if people are too weak, then they should just be left to die. And back then, and at that point, Malachi agreed, and so he like switched allegiances, and which means like all that like haughtiness and that like prideful attitude he had when you fight him, that was actually genuine. He wasn't like being subsumed by Daedalus. He was just like that because he had like survival of the fittest type of attitude back then, but this was changed after like 2.1, and then those pages were removed, I guess, because like Dismal had a different idea for how he wanted to do Malachi, but he didn't know what to do with those pages. And then like come the test build, I guess he used them to create his diary. I don't think there's any. Oh yeah, right. I don't think there's anything else to do in the residential district, so. Okay, the first thing that I've added to the into the game. I added dialogue after the completion of each district because Zachary does not have this. After completing like the residential district, he'll immediately talk about like, oh, you've unlocked the entertainment district, and it's like, my guy, I have not even entered zone 2 yet. What are you talking about? The same thing with like the industry district where I haven't even entered zone 3, and he's like talking about that. And I'm like, no. So I added interactions in after each district where he talks about the zones, and like I have like a whole giant like paragraph explaining why I had him say what he says. I don't remember like every single reason, like because like when it comes to the zone 3's convo, that one is like more intricate with meaning than zone 2's, but zone 2 is just like an obvious reference to the card puzzle in the library, but it's also like a reference to like things like jokers and whatnot. So it's like you don't want to be too a card short of a deck, because if you don't have like jokers, you might end up screwed. So it's like him like nudging you to like, hey, spend your credits to buy jokers. But he's also like hinting at the puzzle that you're gonna have to deal with. an example of Lugosi's ellipses not appearing correctly, because like in this line of dialogue, neither instance of his ellipses show up, which, especially in the "I doubt he'd want to remain in that state he was in for long," like it completely changes like the tone of it with those ellipses not being there. Like not even like the spacing that implies the ellipses are there is actually there. Like there's no like giant gap. It's just like a weird pause, but then that's it. And without the ellipses, you don't know that like he actually is pausing, and it completely changes the tone.